8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news, edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Indrani Senanayaka. The headlines. The Premier has observed the progress of the Malwatu Oya project. Sri Lanka recorded an economic growth rate of 5.3% during the first quarter of 2024. It is stressed that the President has effectively executed the program essential for the country's economic advancement. New marking scheme for grade 5 school students. Record number of legal reforms in Sri Lanka's history during the period of 2022 to 2024. The President says that the present government is working to provide housing rights to 250,000 low-income residents living in the Colombo flats. In foreign news, Indian accused of plotting to murder Sikh leader extradited to US. And in sports news, Siebrand Engelbrecht retires from international cricket. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, who observed the progress of Malwatu Oya project, inspected the plans at the Tantarimale Raja Mahavihara today. Through this project, which the Malwatu Oya is the water source and which provides irrigation to 22,000 hectares of agricultural land to produce rice and additional crops, it is expected to generate 50 megawatts of electricity through the installation of solar panels in the Malwatu Oya reservoir, and 1.6 megawatts of electricity is to be generated through the Malwatu Oya small hydropower system. The Venerable Tantarimale Chandraratana Thera, chief incumbent of the Tantarimale Rajamahavihara, State Minister Shehan Semasinghe and Ashoka Priyantha, MP SM Chandrasena, and Anuradhapura District Secretary Janaka Jayasundara participated in this event. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Balapitiya says that the Sri Lanka recorded an economic growth rate of 5.3% during the first quarter of 2024. Quoting reports from the Department of Census and Statistics, CM Balapitiya said in a statement that the industrial sector alone had grown by 11.8%. He said Sri Lanka recorded a negative growth earlier and the current achievement raised hopes for the country. He said the World Bank had projected an overall growth rate of 2.2% for Sri Lanka this year. The International Monetary Fund recently completed the second review of this program with Sri Lanka to unlock $336 million for Sri Lanka. State Minister of Social Empowerment Anupa Pascal stated that meaningful change in the country can only be achieved through effective policies rather than focusing on individuals or political parties. He emphasized that President Ranil Wickremesinghe has already successfully implemented the necessary programs for the country's economic progress. The State Minister also mentioned that the President has approved a 50% subsidy to address the challenges faced by tea smallholders. State Minister of Social Empowerment Anupa Pascal made these remarks during a press conference held at the Presidential Media Centre today under the theme Collective Path to a Stable Country. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, and we continue with local news. Secretary to the Ministry of Justice, Prison Affairs and Constitutional Reforms, Mr. M. N. Ranasinghe stated that the period from 2022 to 2024 will be historically significant for the highest number of law reforms in Sri Lanka. He highlighted that since 2022, 59 legal reforms have been passed in Parliament, with an additional 7 drafts and 44 legal amendments slated for future approval. Mr. Ranasinghe made these remarks during a press conference titled 2 Years of Progress and Advancement at the Presidential Media Centre today. He emphasized the ministry's pivotal role in drafting laws across various ministries. He noted that the Department of Legal Draftsmen prepared 273 drafts in 2022 and 299 drafts in 2023, encompassing all 3 languages. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that in addition to granting free land rights to farmers, the present government is working to provide housing rights to 250,000 low-income residents living in the Colombo flats. This program aims to ensure that every citizen owns land, a house or a vehicle. President Wickremesinghe made these remarks at a ceremony held this morning at the Ambalapitiya Mahavali Stadium. Farmers in this area have been growing crops and harvesting without owning the land, preventing them from obtaining bank loans. This problem has persisted for 3 generations. To address this, the government implemented the Urumaya program to grant them land rights as a gesture of gratitude to the farmers of this country. He added that when the government assumed office, the country was in crisis with no electricity and a lack of fuel and medicines. President Wickremesinghe also said that to recover, the government prioritized increasing production. Paddy production rose during the 2022 and 2023 seasons thanks to the farmers' efforts. The government provided necessary support, including fertilizer. That ends the local segment of news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
The Poson Week begins from tomorrow and will be conducted until the 24th of this month. District Secretary of the Anuradhapura, Janaka Jayasundara, said that the Poson Festival will be conducted centering on the Atmasthaniya, Mihintale and Tantarimale. It is believed that more than 1 million devotees will arrive in the Anuradhapura sacred city. A special bus and train service will be operated for the convenience of the devotees. Meanwhile, all liquor shops will be closed from tomorrow to the 24th due to the Poson Week.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
We now take a look at Watchlight. Chairman of the Election Commission, RMAL Ratnayaka, says that the date of the presidential election will be announced after certifying the 2024 voter registry. He also stated that the Commission has the power to announce the date after the 17th of next month. RMAL Ratnayaka said that the related work is currently being carried out at district level. He further stated that it is expected to conduct the presidential election between the 17th of September and the 17th of October. That was Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
First, to look at the headlines. Indian accused of plotting to murder Sikh leader extradited to US. Greek Coast Guard threw migrants overboard to their deaths, witnesses say. Singapore races to clean up beaches after oil spill. An Indian man accused of plotting to assassinate a Sikh separatist on US soil is expected to appear in a New York court today on murder charges. Nikhil Gupta was extradited to the US over the weekend, the Washington Post reports, after he was arrested last year in the Czech Republic. He's charged by US authorities by trying to hire a hitman to assassinate Sikh separatist leader Guruptawant Singh Panum, a dual US citizen. US prosecutors allege Mr. Gupta was directed by an unnamed Indian government official. India denies having anything to do with the alleged plot. Last month, the Czech Constitutional Court rejected a petition by Mr. Gupta, who denies the charges he faces against his extradition to the US. Mr. Gupta, 52, is expected to be produced in the Lower Manhattan courthouse on federal murder-for-hire charges. The charges against him carry up to 20 years in prison. The Greek Coast Guard has caused the deaths of dozens of migrants in the Mediterranean over a 3-year period, witnesses say, including 9 who were deliberately thrown into the water. The 9 are among more than 40 people alleged to have died as a result of being forced out of Greek territorial waters or taken back out to sea after reaching Greek islands. The Greek Coast Guard told our investigation is strongly rejects all accusations of illegal activities. We showed footage of 12 people being loaded into a Greek Coast Guard boat and then abandoned on a dinghy to a former senior Greek Coast Guard officer. When he got up from his chair and with his mic still on, he said it was obviously illegal and an international crime. Singapore authorities are scrambling to clean up a major oil spill that has blackened the city-state's southern coastline days after a shipping accident. On Friday, a Netherlands-flagged dredging boat crashed into a Singaporean fuel ship moored in the shipping straits off the nation. Authorities said the dredger's loss of engine power led it to drift into the Singaporean vessel, puncturing its oil tank. At least half the oil in its tank, about 400 tons, spilled out, with large quantities washed ashore. Visitors to some of the beach clubs on the popular resort island of Sentosa reported the water was still dark and oily, and a smell lingered 3 days after the incident. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. Indian accused of plotting to murder Sikh leader extradited to US. Greek Coast Guard threw migrants overboard to their deaths, witnesses say. Singapore races to clean up beaches after oil spill. That ends this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
Education Minister Susil Premajayantha stated that according to the new education reforms, the entire score of the Grade 5 scholarship exam cannot be taken from the exam alone, and 30% of the mark should be earned by students while studying in the classroom in Grade 4 and 5. The minister said the class teacher is responsible for the relevant assessment and the supervision will be done by the school board. The minister was speaking at a ceremony held to mark the handing over of the new building constructed at Dhammisara Vidyalaya in Nathandiya.
Moving on with sports news.
Netherlands batsman Sijbrand Engelbrecht has announced his retirement from international cricket. The 35-year-old South African-born batter made his Netherlands debut in 2023 and played 12 ODIs and 12 T20s. Netherlands' defeat to Sri Lanka on Sunday night, which knocked them out of the T20 World Cup 2024, was Engelbrecht's last international appearance. He marked the occasion with a spectacular boundary save that went viral on social media, racking up 1 million views on Instagram Reels. That effort was characteristic of a player known for his brilliance on the field. He first came to prominence in 2008 when he took a flying two-handed scrammer at backward point while playing for South Africa against Papua New Guinea in the Under-19 World Cup. And that was sports news.
Go ekaktiana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීත හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Itru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Minister of Highways, Transport and Mass Media Bandula Gunawardena inaugurated the renovated railway line in between Mihintale and Anuradhapura today. This year, the Poson Full Moon Poya Day falls on the 21st of June, while the National Poson Week will commence tomorrow with numerous religious ceremonies planned at the Attamastana in Anuradhapura. Meanwhile, Anuradhapura District Secretary Janaka Jaisundara said it is expected that a large number of devotees will arrive in Anuradhapura and Mihintale for Poson celebrations this year. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekaktiana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීත හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Itru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. The application called GeoGovia has been introduced under the program implemented by the Department of Agrarian Development to introduce new technology for agriculture in Sri Lanka. Accordingly, this application contains the knowledge required for agriculture by the farmers as well as the information about the services provided by the Department of Agrarian Development. In addition, the Department of Agrarian Development has started accurate mapping of all paddy lands in Sri Lanka using the GeoGovia application. Accordingly, the amount of paddy land that has been completed by that department with this application is 1.91 million hectares. Also, 1.3 million farmers have registered through this application.
Weather report.
Finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department says that the prevailing rainy condition in the southwestern part of the island is expected to somewhat enhance in the next few days from the 19th of June. The department forecasts that several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabragama and northwestern provinces and in the Galle, Matra, Kandy and Nuwara districts. Strong winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the Central Hills, the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Trincomalee, Hambantota and Monaragala districts. To end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. The Premier has observed the progress of the Malwatu Oya project. Sri Lanka recorded an economic growth rate of 5.3% during the first quarter of 2024. It is stressed that the President has effectively executed the program essential for the country's economic advancement. New marking scheme for grade 5 school students. Record number of legal reforms in Sri Lanka's history during the period of 2022 to 2024. The President says that the present government is working to provide housing rights to 250,000 low-income residents living in the Colombo flats. In foreign news, Indian accused of plotting to murder Sikh leader extradited to US. And in sports news, Sijbrand Engelbrecht retires from international cricket. That ends tonight's news broadcast and the time reads 2 minutes past 9 o'clock. This is Radio Sri Lanka.